Hello, my name's Devin.
I'm Katrina. I'm Jordan.
I'm James.
This is Moose. We're the Brewers, and this is Tiny Alaska.
Lost the skies of powdered gold, caught in clouds of silver rose, showered by the empty holes as I tumbled down, falling fast to the ground. I know I'll wither, so heal away the bar, 'cause nothing grows when it is dark. In spite of all my fears, I can see it all so clear. I see it all so clear.
Since we're doing advanced framing, we have all the studs 24 on center. It saves a lot of weight because you don't use as many boards, but there's no room for error. So what we only did kind of the shell of the walls without the windows and laid them on top to make sure that they went perfectly in line. So right here, this is where it's 24 on center. I put an extra stud in here, kind of like a jack stud, even though you don't really use jack studs for advanced framing. And the only reason I did that was so the wall that goes up over the fender has something to rest on that actually goes straight to the main trailer frame, because I don't want all that weight going on the fender. So the way we marked for the angle is pretty simple, actually. I mean, you can get all technical with like angles, and you can measure this height and that height and then kind of draw a line in between. We just took the full boards and laid it, like we did this part. That's 11, that's 9, and then the bottom part over there. And then laid these boards across here. We laid this one down here first and kind of set it on top. And then went underneath and marked up, and it gave us these perfect angles. And so we just cut them straight down and attached them. And then we did the same thing for this one. We laid this on top of here and marked underneath and just cut the angle. So it seems to have worked out pretty well. We'll be right back when we roughen the windows. Right now, squaring up the walls and snapping chalk lines, and I'm kind of going through my SketchUp model here of where everything should be, and kind of, you know, snapping the lines for that too. Putting little notes on the wood, you know, just so we have a reference whenever we put the walls up. So I'm trying to be productive on this rainy day. I got a little bit of a break, so I'm gonna make my cuts. So for my headers and sills and all that around my windows, I used 2x4x12s when I started cutting the studs, and I did that so when I made the cuts I would have these huge pieces left over, so I didn't have to use a whole bunch of, you know, more plywood. So I just went through my pile, got the measurements I needed, marked them, And then I'm going to take this, make sure they're all lined up, measure it down, and take a straight edge, go right down with my line, and right down with the saw, and pretty easy, done. Alright, so we're making the header sandwich for the long window on the loft. So just take 2x4, right to the right size, another 2x4, right size, 1/2 inch plywood, and that'll make sure that it's even 3.5 inches. Use liquid nail to glue it down. I'm going to put a bunch of screws in. You want it even on all sides. You can use a clamp to hold it in place while you screw it in. Make sure it doesn't move. And then we use liquid nails with the screws like we did for everything else. Pretty easy. Alright, so I put all the screws in. Now we're going to flip it over, add a few more on the back, just to make sure it's all squeezed together nice and tight. There you go. Nice header sandwich. It's a 75-inch one. There's a huge window in the loft, because we're going to need to be able to climb in and out of it to get to the porch on the second floor.
We're putting sill gasket over the tire well to prevent thermal bridging. We're putting it on there with liquid nail to keep it in place.
We just got done roughing in the windows and the door frames. So I just want to show you how to do this. So here's the header sandwich. Real quick, so when you're measuring for your window roughing, you want to make sure that you have an inch on top of the height of the window. So you just add an inch to it and add an inch to the width. And what that does, it gives you 1/2 inch all the way around the window to kind of level it and make sure there's enough space. So you don't want to get it jammed up because it won't open properly. For the header, you want an extra 3 inches because you're going to have the trimmer studs in here, these right here, and they go underneath the header to hold it up. And that's going to be like 1.5 inches and then 1.5 inches over here. Then for your sill, the sill is going to be only that extra inch. You're going to put clipper studs, I think I'm using the right terminology here, underneath the sill, like this, and then you want them to match up here. Now, wherever you cut king studs, you want to make sure that they're still in the same place and they continue straight down. Pause it for a second. So that's pretty much it for the windows. The door is a little bit different. So when you make the header for the door, you want it 9 inches bigger than the door size, because you're going to have 2 trimmers on both sides here, and that's going to be 3 inches, 3 inches, and then you want an extra 3 inches rough in. And then when you measure it from the top, you want an extra 2 inches of space in here. And then obviously that's going to get cut out. So these are the walls so far. This frame sucked. I had 3 windows and a door. I actually framed in everything, all the windows, and totally forgot about the door. So I had to move the windows around. This is going to be the sliding window to go out on the patio for the master loft. This is the side kids loft and the living room window. The moose. And that'll be a living room window, kitchen window, and then the awesome frame that had no windows. My favorite frame. Okay, now I guess sun's going down, so tomorrow we'll raise the walls. Woo. Right now I'm just marking where the walls are going to be. So you take a 2x4 or 2x6, whatever you use to frame. Mark it like that. Bring it here. Put it flush. And then do the same thing. There you go. So you're going to lay one wall this way and one this way. And it's going to be perfectly squared out. So I screwed these blocks on right here on the outside, just so when we're putting the frames up, we'll have something to rest against so it doesn't slip off. So our tarp collapsed, and the support that was holding the tarp up broke in half. Our subfloor is flooded. We have tarps now on the floor, but it's already under like 2 or 3 inches of water. So it's been about a month since the subfloor flooded, well, house flooded. It's like the next day after we got the frame up. Immediately we used towels to kind of get anything on the surface, and then we ran a bunch of fans on it 24/7 for weeks. After about a week, you couldn't even tell that the floor had ever gotten wet. Inspecting it underneath the trailer, you know, along the sides, you couldn't see any warping or any wet wood. So very thankful for that, and hopefully in the future it won't come back to haunt us. It won't have any problems with the floor. So far it's holding steady, and we're carrying on.